Episode 4 of Chip's Vault coming up next. Alright, so I'm going to talk about a guy who's got a heck of a history playing on other people's albums. His name is Chris Soedding, and if you've never heard of him, he's played on albums by Paul McCartney, Roger Daltrey of The Who, Elton John. He's been with Roxy Music and Brian Eno by himself, as well as many others. And he kind of came up with the concept of this album. So what did Chris Soedding decide to do? He decided to make a rock and roll version of Peter and the Wolf. And then he called on all of his friends, and they played on this album. So Chris Soedding managed to pull out all the stops with this one. He had probably called in a lot of favors because everybody is playing on this album. It has Phil Collins and Cozy Powell on the drums, Stefan Grappelli's playing violin, synthesizers by people like Brian Eno. Chris Soedding, of course, is playing guitar, but also Gary Moore's playing on it. Percy Jones on bass. It's just an amazing cast of characters that are on this, and they do a very good job recreating Peter and the Wolf in a rock and roll fashion. If you're familiar with Peter and the Wolf, you may know that every character in Peter and the Wolf has a theme, and those themes can kind of overlay on top of each other as those characters interact with each other. It's really cool. But they managed to pull that off in a rock and roll fashion with this. I loved it as a kid. It came out about the same time as Trick of the Tail with Genesis came out, where Phil Collins first started singing, and I was big into that album, and I just was fascinated with this because I always loved Peter and the Wolf ever since I was knee-high to a knee. So I think you'll enjoy it too. So I guess now it's time to play a song from it. It's hard to pick from all the great themes that are built into Peter and the Wolf, so I figured I would just do Peter's theme, which is the first one out of the gate. I hope you enjoy.
You'll soon get to know Peter and his friends in this adventure because they all have their own special musical sounds. This is Peter.
Now, I've never checked to see what it's worth. I know that you can't find the album anymore, so I'm sure it's worth a little more than what I paid for it. But it's a really cool album, and if you get the chance to actually find it somewhere, maybe digitally even, I would download it if I were you. It really is done well, and I think you'll really enjoy it. So, that is the end of Chip's Vault, Episode 4. I hope you enjoyed it.